I will obliterate their power plants. That's a direct quote from President Trump. It's a line in the sand. And with those words, the entire world is on high alert, holding its breath. So today what we're going to do is just take a snapshot of the world on one single incredibly tense day, Sunday, March 22nd, 2026. You've got ultimatums flying in the Middle East, you have political showdowns happening in Europe, and crises right here at home. It feels like multiple fault lines are shaking all at once. So let's dive in. First up, we have to start with the most immediate threat to global stability, and that's these rapidly escalating conflicts that have managed to pull in the world's major powers. Okay, let's break this down because this is a classic tit-for-tat escalation spiraling out of control. On one side, you have Iran. They're retaliating for an attack on their Natanz nuclear facility by launching missiles at 2 Israeli cities. Now, one of those cities has a major nuclear research center. On the other side, President Trump doesn't just respond, he issues a 48-hour ultimatum. The demand? Keep the Strait of Hormuz, which is this critical artery for global oil, completely open. And the threat, if they don't, well, you heard it, to obliterate their power plants. This isn't just tough talk. This is a countdown clock to a potentially devastating wider war. So, what's the rest of the world doing? Well, they're scrambling. A coalition of over 20 countries, led by European nations and with key partners like the UAE and Singapore, has mobilized. Their mission is crystal clear and absolutely crucial. Make sure ships can pass safely through the strait. You can think of it as a massive international effort to de-escalate, to literally put a protective shield between these threats and the global economy. And while all eyes are on the Middle East, let's not forget the other major conflict just grinding on in Ukraine. There's no breakthrough here, it's just a brutal, attritional fight with constant drone and artillery fire. In fact, just today, a Russian attack on Zaporizhia killed 3 people. It's just a grim reminder that even when the headlines shift, some wars just rage on relentlessly. You know, all this external pressure seems to be mirrored by some really intense internal struggles. All around the world, we're seeing nations at a political crossroads, and it's all defined by power, polls, and the rise of populism. Just look at Slovenia for a perfect example. The first results from their parliamentary election are in, and the nation is split perfectly. 50% for the governing liberals, 50% for the right-wing populists. I mean, you can't get more divided than that. This isn't just an election. It's a portrait of a nation at a complete and total impasse. So while Slovenia is completely divided, one leader is absolutely cementing his legacy. That number right there, 8,931. That is the number of days Narendra Modi has now served as a head of government in India, if you combine his time as both a state and national leader. And as of today, that makes him the longest-serving head of government in India's entire history. That is a truly staggering milestone. And elsewhere in Europe, the political ground is definitely shifting too. Over in France, Paris has a new socialist mayor. But the bigger story might actually be that far-right parties are gaining ground in other cities. And then you've got Italy, where there's this huge constitutional referendum on justice reforms happening, and everyone sees it as a major test of strength for Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's government. Okay, so now let's turn the lens back to the United States. Because the same administration that's threatening to obliterate power plants overseas, it's facing a pretty profound crisis of just basic functionality right here at home. Right now, we are on day 36 of a partial U.S. government shutdown. And the consequences are really starting to bite. Here's the latest development. Staff numbers for the TSA are getting pretty thin. So the president has ordered federal immigration agents, ICE agents, to be deployed to U.S. airports starting tomorrow just to bolster security. I mean, that's a pretty unprecedented move in what's becoming a really serious domestic crisis. And it makes you ask a pretty critical question. How effective can your foreign threats be when your own government is visibly fraying at the seams? And on a more somber note, today also marks the passing of a major figure in recent American history. Robert Mueller, the former FBI director, who, of course, went on to lead the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election, has died. He was 81 years old. But you know, even with all these high-stakes geopolitical dramas and crises, life just keeps going. So let's take a look beyond the headlines, at the stories of protest, achievement, and culture that also define this day. So today is UN World Water Day, and down in Chile, thousands of people took to the streets. But they weren't celebrating. They were protesting President Cast's environmental rollbacks. a really powerful display of citizen action on a day that's recognized all over the globe. From protest to just pure performance. 7.65 seconds. That is how fast Bahamian sprinter Devin Charlton just ran the 60-meter hurdles at the World Indoors. By doing that, she matched her own world record and won her third straight title. Just an absolutely incredible athletic achievement. Wow. And finally, a quick look at culture and a little glimpse into the future. In Seoul, the K-pop superstars BTS held a massive comeback concert, their first in 4 years, which is a huge deal. Meanwhile, in Japan, a firm in Kyoto is launching a service to store a person's own iPS cells for future regenerative medicine. I mean, it's a peek at the future of healthcare, but get this, it comes with a price tag of up to $126,000. So, we really end where we began, with a world on edge. It's a day defined by a 48-hour deadline in the Persian Gulf. A nation split 50-50 at the ballot box. A government shutdown forcing it to get creative. And through it all, these amazing moments of protest, record-breaking speed, and cultural celebration. It leaves us all with the only question that really matters. With so many different timelines all converging at once, what comes next?